Hi everyone, this is Ida of Created to Create. Welcome back to my channel. If you are not 18 years or older, this video content is not intended for you. Hi guys, this is Thanksgiving Day. I've already fed my family. We had a very nice Thanksgiving dinner. I hope everyone is having, or lunch should I say, and I hope everyone is having a great Thanksgiving. I wanted to come on today and hopefully finish this tutorial on the shaker gift box that I created, but I decided to change up the lid a little bit, so I'm going to redo it, redo the lid, and I think that you guys will probably like this better because it is not only going to be clean on the outside, but it's going to clean on the inside. And I'm going to try and speed this up, you guys, that way I won't keep you for long. So you're going to start out with a piece of paper that measures 11 7/8 by 11 7/8. I already have one, but I'm going to do it again so I can follow, so you guys can follow along with me. And I hope you can see the measurements. So we're just going to take off, actually we're even going to take off less than that. I'm going to just take off about 1/16 of an inch, and which that means it's the little, you know, it's got little notches, little sticks, I guess I would call them lines, and you're just going to go one line back from the 12, and you're just going to take off a little bitty piece. This one's not long enough. I had already pre-cut this one and I cut it too short, so I've already made all the mistakes, so you guys hopefully don't have to. I recommend that you watch the whole video in case I make a mistake, you guys can catch it. So we're going to cut this piece of paper, and it's going to measure 11 7/8 by 11 7/8. I'm taking off very, very little. I know it's dark here, guys. It's already late here, a little bit late, but I really want to get this done for you guys in case you're doing Christmas packaging and all that good stuff. You already have this video. So I'm taking off another little sliver on this one as well. So I'm going to remove my trimmer, and you're going to take that piece of paper that we took that little piece off, and we're going to score it. And I've already got one scored, but I'm going to do it with you guys, that way you guys know what I'm doing. So I'm going to score at a 1/2 inch, at 1 inch, at 1 1/2 inch, and at 2 inch. And then I'm going to give my paper a 1/4 turn, make sure I'm lined up everywhere, and I'm going to do it again. I'm going to score at 1/2 inch, at 1 inch, at 1 1/2, and at 2. We're going to do that to all 4 sides. Give it another 1/4 turn. Make sure you're butted up against those edges, because even just a little bit off will make a difference. At 1 inch, at 1/2 inch, at 1 inch, at 1 1/2, and at 2 inches. And we're going to give it one more turn because we're going to do it on all 4 sides. And at 1/2 inch again, 1 inch, 1 1/2 inch, at 2 inch. This should be all 4 sides already scored. I'm not going to use this one. I'm going to save it for another box. But I already have mine cut up, but I do want to share it with y'all. Here is mine already trimmed. You're going to burnish, which means just fold at all 4 score lines. When you get your paper off, you know what? Let's just do it. Flip it to the other side, the bumpy side. That's the side you want to burnish your paper, because that breaks up the fibers and your paper will not crack, or is less likely to crack, because you already broke the fibers there by adding that score mark there. So all I'm doing is I'm burnishing on all 4 sides, all the score marks that we put in. And in a sense, we are creating a shadow box because if we want, a lady requested that the box be cleaner on the inside, and I was trying to figure out a way to do that, and I figured out a way, but the only way to do that is we're going to have to create a separate top, and then we're going to add the sides to it for the lid. So here is my piece already burnished, and what you're going to do is you're going to take off, you're going to cut the score marks on either end and just stay straight on the line. We don't have, at this point, we don't have to taper, but just be right on that last score mark. And you should have a piece here that's a little under an 8x8 square. And so I'm going to cut on all 4 sides. I'm going to cut, and I like to cut on opposite sides, so I won't cut here and then here. No, I go directly across on the opposite side, and that's where I cut. I'm going to cut where my last score mark is, right up to that square in the center. Same thing here. Okay, what you're going to do here, if I can get it to that score line. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take off, see these sides that we didn't cut? Cut it to that side that you didn't cut. And I want you to take off this whole square that has all those little intersecting score marks that creates those little squares. You want to take off all 4. And you're going to turn it to the opposite side. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to take off that square that has all those score marks. And it's this one. I hope you can see. I know it's dark, but it's this one with all the score marks. And we're going to take that off completely. And you can just throw these away. You don't need them for anything. And then what I want you to do is grab your ruler and a pencil, and you're going to turn it to the first ones that we cut. You're going to take your pencil, or either one, it doesn't matter because they measure the same. You're going to take your ruler and you're going to mark at 1/2 inch on either side of that piece of paper, and we're going to trim that, and you're going to do that on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it around directly across, and I'm going to do the same thing. Mark at 1/2 inch on either side. Like I said, we're creating a shadow box. If you search through my videos, I think I did create one before, but it's a different size. So this one's going to fit our box. Now, what I want you to do is just cut straight down past the first score mark up to the second score mark. And you're going to cut that tab off. You're going to do the same thing on all 4 sides. I hope you can see. I'm going to cut not just that up to that first score mark, but up to that second one. And I'm going to cut that little piece off. You're going to do the same thing on the opposite side where you marked. You're going to cut that one up to the second score mark and take that little tab off. And right here. So we're going to take those 4 off. You can throw those away. That's garbage too. Now, this outer tab up to the first score mark, just angle it. That makes it easier when you're trying to tuck something next to another side, that you don't have extra bits that you can't line up straight or fold it in straight. Go to the opposite side, do the same thing just up to that first score mark at an angle. Just take out a little wedge. Okay, what you're going to do here, so your paper should look like this. You should have 2 straight sides that are just cut off, and then you should have 2, one on either end, that have these cut off. So it should look like this. And let me see, so you guys can see it real clearly. You can count the score marks. Okay, what we're going to do here, you're going to cut a piece of paper. Remember I said that this square measures a little under 8 inches because of that little piece sliver that we took off. So you want to cut a piece of paper that's measures 7, and I'm going to say 7 3/4 by 7 3/4. That's going to fit in this middle square we have here. And so make sure you have your backing paper already chosen, and I'm just going to glue it down. And what we're making is the shadow box part, and then we're going to add sides, but I want it to look really clean, and this gives me an opportunity to make my shadow box look really clean by adding the paper in the background paper before I close anything up. Make sure that that piece that you added is that piece of paper that you added is within the perimeter of the score marks. That is not, this one's a little crooked. Looks like it's a little bit underneath, and I don't want it to do that. So make sure that your paper is not, doesn't go past the perimeter of the score marks, because we're going to fold those, and if they extend past the score mark, then you wouldn't be able to fold it, or it wouldn't fold right. That would be in the way. So this designer paper is within the perimeter of that square that's in the middle that doesn't have any score marks. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take your sides. I'm going to turn it to the sides, not the ones that are cut, but the sides, and we're going to roll this like a little tube, just like a little tube, and we're going to glue it down. That's all we're doing there. So add glue to this flap. Make sure you have plenty of glue that is going to stay. And you're going to know if you're in the right place, because every little section is a 1/2 inch, and it's going to create a little tube, but this bottom portion is going to hit. It's going to, you want to butt it up right against this inner edge of the tube. So it's, you can't go past it. There's no way. You'll feel that you've already gone far enough, and it's not going to go any further. You want to hold it down for a little bit, make sure it's adhered, and you're going to do the same thing to the other one. You see that this edge hits up against the score mark, and it can't go any further, and that's what you want. That's going to give us our strength in our box, where it won't collapse, because I had tried it a different way and it was really flimsy, and I thought, no, I have to change that, or else they're not going to have a strong box. So we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to tuck and roll. You're just going to tuck and roll and apply pressure. Make sure it's butted up against the side, that it can't go any further. If you can put something in there, that's fine, but it's not necessary, because once we do this one, it's gonna, everything's kind of hold it together. We're gonna do the same thing here, but the reason we cut these portions off, because they have to fit in between here, and this side takes up a 1/2 inch, and this side takes up a 1/2 inch. So that's why we had to take off that 1/2 inch on the 2 outer tabs, because when we go to roll this, it wouldn't fit if we didn't take that off. But see, if we go past it, then we wouldn't have this area that will glue down, these little tabs that are going to glue there. We wouldn't have that if we went down to that 3rd score mark. So you just want to do the 2. I'm going to add my glue. And I'm not going to decorate this, guys, because I did do a video on how to, my box already decorated. Make sure you add glue to these corners. I already did a video on my box already decorated, so I'm not going to decorate it. But make sure you don't have any gaps on the edges. If something is open, make sure it's not, but make sure you don't push it too far in. These two gotta line up right there. And just hold it for a little bit for it to dry. That looks good. And you're gonna cover this. You're not even gonna see that. I mean, I could have angled this and given it a better framed look, but because I'm going to cover it, I would rather have the extra strength by being able to glue that little tab. But see how it's just lined up straight? That's how you want it. I'm going to do the same thing on this one. We're going to add glue to our last tab. And then don't forget to add glue to those ends on those tubes you already rolled up. And we're going to tuck and roll. Tuck and roll, guys. There is that. Make sure everything is lined up and glue it down. So we have a frame here, a shadow box or a picture frame or whatever you want to call it. But that's what we have here. And that is where we're going to add the sides to it. Now, I already cut my top to this. I'm going to share it with you. But I did share it on my other process video that I did. And I'm hoping I don't have to redo it. But all I did was I cut an 8x8 piece of paper. Because I know this is going to end up being an 8x8. And then I cut a designer paper that was 1/8 of an inch smaller. Because I only like a small border of the paper that's underneath, and I lined them up where I needed them to be. You can take them, you can whatever, put your die over, don't glue them, put your die over it, run it through your machine, then remove the top layer. Chances are your second layer is not going to cut through, but it does give you an edge that you can just slide your die back into place and run it through again, and it'll cut your second layer. So this piece is going to go here. This is where this is going to go. But now we need to add sides to our box, because remember, this is the lid to our box. So I already have that prepared. This is just the beginning. You're going to need your paper trimmer again. And you're going to need heavyweight cardstock. For these, I already cut mine out, but I have to take a 1/2 inch off because I was going to make them deeper and I changed my mind. So you're going to need a strip of paper. You can use an 8.5 by 11 that measures 5 inches. Mine's 5 and, put it this way. You're going to need a strip of paper that measures 4.5, 5 inches. Yep. You're going to need a paper that measures 5 inches by 8.5. I already have my score marks on mine, but I need to trim off a piece. So it's 5 inches by the whole length of the 8.5. So you need 4 of those. Felt like it shifted a little bit. Might be okay. So here we are. 4 of these. 5 inches wide by the whole 8.5 paper. If you're using an 8.5 by 11 sheet. So it's 5 inches by 8.5. You're going to take your paper. And mine are already scored, but I'm going to do one with you. And this is mostly for people who are beginners or who really need a visual. If you already know, then this isn't for you, but this is for those who do need help. You're going to take your bone folder. You're going to score at 1/2 inch all the way down. Then you're going to rotate it to the short on the long side, and you're going to score down the short side at 1/2 inch as well. And you're going to do that to all 4 pieces. Mine are already done. Now what I want you to do is, I cut some of them already, but I didn't do all of them. Take out this corner where the score marks intersect at an angle, kind of like the way we did the base of the box. Take that off, do it at the other end of the tab and at the other end. So we're taking those just right up to the score line, not past the score line. And you're going to do that to all 4 pieces. And I believe that when I get done, this lid is going to fit perfectly. So I'm going to cut up to the score mark. I'm going to take off that little triangle at the corner where your score marks intersect, and the other end. So there's that one. And we're going to do the same. Take off that intersecting square at the corner. We're going to take off this wedge right up to the score mark, and the same thing here right up to that score mark. This one's already done, and this one only needs to be cut right here. Just taking that little wedge off. I got dry glue all over my hands. Okay, you're going to take your piece and you're going to fold your edge, your tabs, and burnish them. Mine are already burnished. You're going to do that to all 4 of them. And now we're going to add them to the shadow box we just created. The shadow box that we just created, we're going to add these 2 there. We're going to add the long flap to the top, and then the short one, we're going to glue it on the side right there. And we're going to do that all the way around. So make sure your the side right here that's straight should line up with the straight edge of your box. And probably the easiest way to do it would be to add glue to this flat part, and that's what I'm going to do because I think it would be easier. Try not to do what I do. I always miss it and get glue underneath and all that. And if you're trying to, you know, your box to be clean, you don't want to do that. So this time we're going to do it opposite. The tabs is that we're gonna glue the tabs to the top of the box, but I'm going to line up the edges right there. And on the other side, I'm gluing down this piece just to the side. I haven't glued the top because I believe by gluing it on the side first, that's going to keep me straight. So that's what I'm trying to do. Now you can go back and add glue to your frame, so you can glue that frame down. Okay, now you want to glue that tab down to your frame. Now I'm going to take my tab here, and I want my tab to be glued down, so I'm going to add glue to the corner right here, and I'm going to hold this in place. And I'm going to do that all the way around. I'm going to, first of all, I need to hold that down, make sure it's glued. It looks like it's coming up. So if you want to use tape, you can use tape, or you can use both. I know a lot of people do a combination of both. Where's my, right here. I want to make sure it's glued down. By adding this frame the way we did here, that makes it extra strong. So don't you know, be a little patient. Not like me that I'm trying to move on really, really quick. If you find that your paper is just too long past that edge, go ahead and trim a little bit. It's not going to hurt it. It's still going to fit your box. But it's better for you to trim it than for you to have too much at the edge, because this is the first time I make it, so I'm hoping this will work. I think it will, but we're going to learn together. Come on. So we're going to do the same thing to the second one, and we're going to glue it right up against that edge right there to the tab. See that right there in the side? So let's add glue to the tab and to the side of our box. And then I'm going to add the glue to the side of the box, because I'm going to put this down and I want it to for it to be adhered. Make sure your long one is burnished, so when you glue it to the front, it's going to stay. So I'm lining it up right there in the corner, making sure that the edges line up perfectly. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to make sure that my side of the box is butted up against the top of that edge, that crease. Because even though it's not glued down, I want to make sure that that's my stopper. That kind of helps me, gives me a guide on where I need to stop. So make sure you have plenty of glue. Like for the video, I'm kind of rushing things, so I won't keep you guys, but make sure you take the time to really do this right, because this is where it's going to show. Now, I'm going to glue down this little tab right here and the top as well. Hold that down for a second, then I'll do the top. Or I can go back and do the tops at the end, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and do the top. When we put this, see the way it looks real clean? When we put this over our box, we still have 4 inches left here. That's why we added an extra ½ inch. The side was only 4 inches, but we added that ½ inch to accommodate where this shadow box recesses into the lid. And now I'm going to add glue to here and adhere this portion down. And definitely if you use tape, it might be a little bit better, because the tape will do an instant grab, and that, you know, even if that happens to come undone, by doing the instant grab with the tape, by the time that comes undone, your glue's already set and it won't come undone. Let me burnish this. I need more glue there. Yep, I don't think I have enough glue there, guys, so I recommend that you use some tape as well, double-sided tape. I always prefer glue, and I never really hardly ever do tape by itself. Most of the time, if I do use a double-sided tape, it will be together with the glue. Let me see. See, I can see where it's open, so I want to make sure, take the time I know, you know, it's a little bit time consuming, but take the time to make sure that your paper is glued down. If you need to add a little bit extra, like I feel like mine needs some here in the corner, take the time to do that, because you're going to be more happy with the results. I'm sorry guys, I can see that it's dark, but you guys can see what I'm doing. We're doing okay. So there, that side is glued down, and now we're going to add the other one, and you can see that our box is coming together. Again, we're going to glue these together, and add glue to the tab. Add glue to this tab and add glue to the side. Make sure you have plenty of glue all the way to the edge. Mine seemed to be lining up pretty well. I didn't have to trim anything off with the measurements that I did. I'm going to line the bottom of my box, the corner of my box first, to make sure that that's glued. And then I'm going to make sure that the side is butted up against the front of that frame. See that little edge, this little corner of the frame falls into this little corner here, and that's how you know that you're in the right spot. I think I'm going to do the lid last. Let me burnish this. Make sure it's nice and glued. See, that's going to look really clean on the inside, because the lady wanted it to be a little bit cleaner. And this is the only, I think this is what she meant. Ooh. Okay, see right here is where I did a mistake. I should not have glued this end yet. And I can still take it out, which is great, because I need to glue that tab in there. So make sure you leave a little bit of a gap there where you can put in your last tab. Has to slide in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the last one. I really enjoyed Thanksgiving, guys. I really don't eat like that anymore because of my diabetes. But I said today I was going to enjoy my meal with my family. And I really did enjoy it, but I didn't overdo it, because I guess even though I gave myself permission to eat that for that one day, I still, in the back of my mind, I know that that's not good for me. So, you know, I'm trying to be disciplined as far as that goes. Okay. Now I'm going to add glue to the last side. And to this tab right here. And I'm also going to add a little bit of glue to this corner, because I'm going to tuck it in inside this edge right here. I'm going to tuck it in, even though I'm not going to glue it down, I'm going to tuck it in. So let's line up this corner right here. There it is. There's that corner. Now I'm going to make sure that my shadow box is pushed up against that corner right there. So let me burnish this one with my bone folder. Oh, this is looking really good, and I think it's going to work, guys. Okay, we have one last side to glue down besides the flaps on the top, and that is this one that we tucked in. So just pull out that paper right there and add glue, and this should work. And here is our last one. Make sure you're lined up in the corner, and I'm going to burnish. And I'm going to try it on my existing box that I already shared, because I think these dimensions that I just gave will work. So here is our lid. These are not done yet. I haven't glued them down, but I will. Here is my designer paper. And then all I would need to do is decorate it and add my acetate and my shaker bits. But this would be my lid. So, a moment of truth. Let's see if this box will fit the existing box with the measurements that I gave. This paper is gorgeous. I love it. Okay, here's the existing box. And this should fit over it perfectly. And yep, I think it's going to work. There you go, guys. The box goes all the way down because we added an extra ½ inch on the side to accommodate the depth of our shadow box. So that would be my box. And hold on. Here would be the top of it, like I said, and then you would just decorate it. But when you look at your box, when you take your box off, when you take your lid off, I still need to put in some thumbnails on this one. Thumb index, because, you know, you want to be able to pull that bottom box out. You want to be able to pull that bottom box out, and by giving you that thumb notch there, you're able to do it versus having to do something like this. Come on. There it goes. Come on. But it fit perfectly, you guys. It's not too snug or anything. I'm going to remove this. So all you have to do here is remember, oh, I don't know if I shared it with you, but all I did here was use my Tim Holtz ruler because it does have that 0 in the center, so I can find the center of my box, line it up. I got the 4 on either side, and I only want to go in about ½ inch and give yourself a mark right there where that 0 is. There's my mark. And then do the same thing on the opposite side. Here's my ruler. 4 and 4 on either side. Give myself that mark. And on this one, I would use the 1-inch punch. Slide it up to that mark. And cut it. And do the same thing on the other. And there are my thumb notches. That's all that I wanted to share with you guys. I hope that this helped you, that this explained everything. And I hope everyone's having a great day. And this was easy to follow. Bye.